And we are live. What's going on, everyone? I hope you guys have questions. There's a lot going on in the world. We just finished up another Zoom mediation. I'm still jacked up, and I thought I'd just stay on and hopefully answer your questions and try to make some sense of all the craziness that's going on in the world. It looks like YouTube may be down for StreamYard, which is the program I'm using to broadcast this platform. But what I want you guys to do is, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, if YouTube's working, over at the blog, ask your questions. I'm going to do my best to answer your questions in a way that provides you with immediate solutions, which get you going in the right direction and hopefully will help you sleep a little bit better tonight. Whether we're talking about politics, whether we're talking about COVID-19, employer-employee rights, whether we're talking about setting up a business, whether we're talking about influence on social media, whatever your issue is, I'm going to try to answer it for you. And if I can't, I'm going to get you going in the right direction. I'll refer you to a lawyer. I'm going to share some resources with you, and we're going to have some fun. My name is Mitch Jackson. I am a California trial lawyer, 34 years. A lot of you know me on social media. I love these platforms. It's so much fun. Just instead of one-to-one across my desk, 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000, and hopefully taking my friends by the hand and answering their questions, right? It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And, I'm at that point in my life where I want to give back. I want to help you guys out. So this is the time to get your questions answered. Do me a favor. We have people coming in. Hit the share button. Share this out with your audience. If you have friends that are small business owners, entrepreneurs, social media influencers, content creators, people that are putting together blog posts, live streaming shows, and they have questions, they should have legal questions. There's a lot going on that a lot of people don't know about. Bring them in and have them submit their questions. If you're watching the recorded version of this, do the same thing. Share it out, and I'd be happy after the fact to answer your questions. You guys can ask your questions, and we're already getting some really good questions. It's going to be a long night. We've got some good questions coming in. You can ask them in the comments in Facebook. You can ask them over in the YouTube comments if YouTube's up. And you can also email me your questions, Mitch@jacksonwilson.com. That's Mitch@jacksonwilson.com. I'll be monitoring my email. You guys can send a text message to our 800 number, 800-661-7044. You can text your questions. That number's at the top of our website. It's 1-800-661-7044. You can shoot me messages on Facebook Messenger, Twitter DMs, all the above. I'm going to do my best to try to monitor, what's going on and get answers back over to you. Before we get too far into the show, let me just go ahead and share a disclaimer with you. I think this is super important, and you guys should be using disclaimers in your businesses too. Waivers of liability, disclaimers, especially with COVID-19 right now. There are all types of ways where you can use disclaimers to help limit your liability. It's not going to keep you from being held responsible if you're being unsafe and you're asking people to do silly, stupid, and dangerous things, and maybe you should be held responsible, right? But as far as good faith, arm's length interactions, I am a California lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. No legal advice is being given. We're just having a conversation. I'm answering your questions. And so we're incorporating this disclaimer into the entire show, but I wanted to show you guys what disclaimers look like. You can craft these for your own business, your own practice, your own profession. I don't care what you're doing. It's always a good idea to use waivers of liability, disclaimers, indemnification agreements. Services like LegalZoom will get you going in the right direction on these documents, but most of them are state specific. Some of them are limited to the type of business that you're running. You've got to craft these things in a way that accommodate your business, your products, your services. So see a lawyer in your state to make sure that your disclaimers, your waivers, your indemnification agreements, your venue agreements are very important. They basically say, if I'm here in California and I'm selling a product or service in New York, the parties have agreed to adjudicate all claims and litigation here in Orange County, California. It helps keep your expenses down as a business owner, and it helps avoid frivolous lawsuits. Somebody in New York's not going to be bringing a frivolous case against me in California. These are all documents like this disclaimer that will allow you to sleep better at night, is basically what it comes down to. All right, so coming back, what I want to do is let me jump into a couple questions right here. So we've got 2 or 3 people asking, is the presidential election over? Are the results official? What's going to happen? That's being asked in 3 or 4 different ways, you guys. And to answer your question, listen, my take on all this is it's a done deal, you guys. I think we can all plan on moving forward with the Biden-Harris administration on January 20th. You know, there's a long legal answer behind that, but for those of you that are trying to structure your businesses to what rules, regulations, and laws may come into effect on January 20th with respect to executive orders signed by what will be President Biden, what a lot of us are doing is that's what we're advising our clients. We are planning on moving forward in 2021, whether you like it or not, with the new administration, with a different perspective on what's going on. So that's my answer to that particular question. If you guys disagree with me, let me know. And we've got some text questions coming in. So I love text questions. I don't know if I can bring them up on the screen, but let's see. Rebecca Radice earlier today on Twitter. If you guys aren't following Rebecca, follow her. She's a gifted social media marketer and communicator. But she talked about what her tweet has something to do with what are the 2 or 3 most important things that new business owners should pay attention to. And that reminds me of the question I'm seeing reminds me of Rebecca's tweet. So if you're not following Rebecca, follow her on social and especially on Twitter. She's actually sharing amazing content. But new business owners, a couple of things. What you want to do, and it's not really legal oriented, but having helped hundreds of companies start up over the last 3 decades, there are two things I've noticed the successful startups. When I say startups, I mean traditional startups that you're thinking about, but also small mom and pop companies that brick and mortar companies that are starting off down the corner, a donut store, right? A tire store, maybe an online store selling t-shirts. There's 2 things that they all have in common. The first thing is they've got good legal counsel in their corner answering questions. They're able to make smart, intelligent business decisions and avoid litigation, avoid legal challenges, avoid intellectual property issues ahead of time. And by doing that, it allows you to stay in business. It allows you to avoid exposing your business assets to business liability. Number one, and I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into some of those issues I've just mentioned, but number one, get hooked up with a good lawyer in your state, someone who you know, like, and trust, that can take you by the hand, somebody who's cost effective, can review your documents, let you know what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and lead you down the path to success. Okay, that's number one. Number two, think about getting a good accountant or CPA to help you make certain business decisions. Every decision you make in business has income and expense ramifications, has tax expense ramifications. If you're setting up some type of retirement plan that can take advantage of certain tax benefits to minimize what you pay out in taxes and maximize what you can put into your retirement account or what your employees or team can put in their retirement accounts. These are things, easy for me to say, it's been a long day. These are things that you can brainstorm with a good lawyer and with a good CPA and incorporate into your business model. Once again, of all the companies I've helped start up over the last 30 plus years, of all the companies I've litigated for as a lawyer or defended in court over the last 34 years or so, maybe it's a little bit longer. 86 is when I started. Yeah, that's the common factor, a good lawyer and a good accountant. Usually the companies that are getting sued or have claims brought against them are those companies that don't have those 2 elements positioned in the firm. And by the way, you don't have to have in-house counsel. You don't have to pay an expensive law firm to do all these things. What you can do is you can build relationships. There's all different types of ways you can set up a legal and accounting relationship. There are services out there where you pay a little bit of money each month to have access to a lawyer, to have access to an accountant. There are services out there, barter services, barter systems, where in exchange for a lawyer giving you an hour of her time or his time each month, you in return allow them access to your products or services for an equal dollar amount. Same thing with an accountant. There are services out there where you can structure things where you're not out of pocket, but you've got the protection. You've got somebody looking over your shoulder and making sure you're making the right decisions. Real quick, I did say I wanted to check my Twitter DMs. I'm jumping to a different screen. Okay, we're good there. And emails, we are good there. All right, looks like there's a lot going on. Right here, one of the questions, great question, would I recommend a CPA or a certified financial planner? A lot. You may find someone that wears both hats. What I'm talking about is an accountant or a CPA, okay? It has more to do with structuring and running your business as opposed to financial planning, as opposed to asset protection, as opposed to estate planning. Now, having said that, it's oftentimes combined, right? And you might find an individual or a small company that does both. But I'm glad you brought that up, because what we've noticed, and what I've noticed, you guys, when I speak at social media conferences around the country, when I was on stage at Tony Robbins the last couple of years with David Merriman-Scott, David, that was awesome. If you're watching, thanks for asking me. What we've noticed is we have a lot of really bright, motivated, hardworking, energetic entrepreneurs that are starting new companies, just kick-ass new companies, with a couple of Twitter DMs, with a couple of text messages. That's their startup documentation, right? And then they get together and they build this great company, and a year later, everything, it's a house of cards. Something happens. There's a claim, there's a lawsuit, there's a difference of opinion between the partners. Something happens, and what we're seeing is that the underlying documents aren't there. The underlying foundation of a successful company just isn't there. As soon as you start peeling away the layers of an onion, and if you have a lawyer involved at the beginning, if you have a CPA or an accountant involved at the very beginning, you can help set these things up. And I'm talking about doing business as a corporation, as a limited liability company, as some other type of legal entity, as opposed to being a sole proprietor. We don't ever recommend that our clients do business as sole proprietors, and that's one of the questions I'm going to get to. But before I do, the reason I'm bringing this up is we also notice a lot of entrepreneurs, once they get things set up, once they create their corporations and their limited liability companies, they haven't spent as much time setting up their financial plan, their estate plan. What happens, God forbid, if you are critically injured, you're incapacitated, you can't make decisions? What happens if something tragic happens and you reach an early demise in your life? You die. What happens to your business assets? How does your family move forward? Who has access to your social media accounts? If those accounts have value, if you've got online subscription services, if you're selling businesses and products and services online, who has the legal right to have access to that business revenue, to those business assets? And I would suggest that having those professionals involved early, they will help you set up your plan, your succession business plan, and your personal succession plan. I should have pointed this out earlier. If you guys jump over to, if you have questions, if you jump over to Streaming Lawyer right here, okay, this is my legal video blog, more of a digital social media aspect of what I'm talking about as opposed to our normal law firm website. If you go to Streaming Lawyer and you type in the search bar, how to do business, or corporations, or limited liability companies, or asset protection, or estate planning, you'll find articles that we've written for business owners about what I've just shared, except obviously in a lot more detail. And one of the articles that I'm talking about, and by the way, please ask your questions. I love the questions that we're getting. And if you guys just want to hit the share button and share this out, that would be fantastic. One of the questions we get, and it looks like I've got a couple of questions that are similar to this, have to do with, should I be doing business as a general partnership? The answer is no. Don't do business as a general partnership, limited liability company, or corporation. Okay. So once you are set up and you're moving forward in business, you guys, hang on a second. Let me just see what's going on. Okay. Streaming.lawyer is the platform. Thank you for asking. It's just a blog with audio, video, and blog post. My Twitter handle, you guys, if you want to connect with me on Twitter and on most of the social media platforms, it's at Mitch Jackson. That's the best way to get a hold of me and connect with me on all the platforms, except on TikTok, where I'm Mitch_Jackson. Jackson, Mitch_Jackson. All the other platforms, it's Mitch Jackson. But here's the deal. Once you're set up, once you get things running, one of the first things I want you guys to do is sit down with a lawyer in your state, have a conversation about what type of products or services you're offering, what are the rules and regulations of that state with respect to who you are and what you do, and then figure out your long-term plans. Is this going to be a closely held company that you're going to be keeping in your family for the next 5 to 10, 20 years? Is this something that you're going to want to go public with? Is this an app or software that you're going to want to eventually have roll out on the NASDAQ, right? Depending on the answers to those questions will dictate whether or not you want to create your company and turn it into a limited liability company or some type of corporation, a sub C corporation, a subchapter S corporation, which is a corporation that's treated as a corporation for business purposes, but is taxed once as an individual business owner would be taxed. What a lot of people don't realize is with many different types of corporations that you read about in the news, there's double taxation. The corporation's paying a corporation tax, corporate tax, and then different shareholders in the corporation may be paying personal tax on revenue that's flowing through to their personal tax return. So that's why you want to talk to an attorney and figure out what's your long-term play and what do you want to do to minimize your tax liability, maximize your protection. And speaking of protection, AJ Richmond, you know what? No, you're the man, okay? Everybody follow AJ. He is a Georgia criminal defense attorney, and he's also someone who I consider as being gifted when it comes to doing video and live videos. This guy's got it down. So definitely connect with AJ on the social platforms. Let me check my messages that are coming in, you guys. Hang on. Okay. Oh man, we got a lot of questions, you guys, so bear with me. So let me know. Hey, you guys, let me know in the comments. Do you find this valuable? Is this helpful? Is this useful? Do you guys have questions when it comes to how you're doing business on the social media platforms? Do you have questions about what you need to do next, about something that's happening in your life, about the news that we have right now, whether it's a liability issue with COVID-19, whether it's bringing a claim, what type of insurance coverage is there? If you have questions like that, I've got a couple questions coming in that may be from clients. I don't know if they want me to discuss these on the internet during this live video. So I'm going to just ask you guys as you submit these questions, because we get a lot of questions every day from existing clients and past clients. Let me know in the question, this is for the show. And that way I'll know I can bring it up and actually talk about it in real time. Speaking about real time, you guys, Professor Nicholas Meir at Chapman University. It's good to see you, my friend. He is my go-to expert when it comes to social media and social media on an international basis, which actually, Nicholas, and you don't know this, but I think it's going to tie into some of the questions that I'm getting with respect to doing businesses in other countries. Connect with Nicholas. He's the social media professor, and he was kind enough to also write a chapter in my book. Hopefully you guys have my book. If you don't, it's on Amazon, The Ultimate Guide to Social Media. Nicholas, I don't remember exactly what chapter it was, but he wrote one of the 52 chapters in this book. I had 46 experts from around the world contribute chapters. And the book is all about, how business owners and entrepreneurs and professionals, how they can use social media. It's broken down into 3 parts. Number 1 is broken down into the understanding the mindset of social media. Number 2, the personalities of the platforms. And number 3, my favorite, different communication approaches to maximize your engagement on each of the platforms. And what Nicholas was talking about in the book, it's good to see you, bud, is understanding that as business owners, we have to be aware that many of us are broadcasting right now. This is being broadcasted around the world, right? Different time zones, different rules, different regulations, different laws. So depending on what you're selling, depending on what product or service you're providing to your client or customer, you have to be aware of the rules and regulations in other countries, especially with customers who are, you just threw me off, Princess likes my shirt. Thank you. I like it too. I think I'm the only one in the family that likes it, but thank you. I appreciate it. It's fun, right? It's not your typical lawyer shirt. So that's what makes it fun. It's my surfer shirt. But when we're doing these things, you guys, you have to pay attention to, for example, the email contact database rules in the UK, right? In Great Britain, across Europe. You need to be aware of the new privacy laws in the state of California, especially if you're a certain sized company that's acquiring user data, okay? Once again, if you go to streaming.lawyer, and this is just a coincidence, I wasn't planning this, but I'm trying to cover all these issues for you guys on the new California privacy laws. I've done a couple of blog posts. I've done a couple of video interviews. If you type in California privacy laws at streaming.lawyer, it'll take you to the post to answer those questions. And with respect to the, I can't think of the name of it, GDPP, whatever it is, the UK laws, if you type that into the search bar, you will get some interviews, some blog posts on those laws. And, you know, whether we like it or not, we have to pay attention to what the rules and regulations are in other countries, especially if you're a business owner. So I just wanted to point that out to you also. One other thing that's super important is keep in mind, just because a tweet limits you to, 280 characters, or just because a Facebook post or some other social media post only allows you to share so much information, that doesn't mean that your requirement for full disclosure, your requirement to comply with state, national, or federal laws doesn't still exist. And what I see happening on social is a lot of people are, let's take that disclaimer I showed you at the beginning of the show. They're not including a full and complete disclaimer on their social media post, in their Twitter feeds. But what you can do is you can include a link. Click here to read our full disclaimer before moving forward. And then when they click on that disclaimer, they go to something similar to, let's see if I can bring it up just for fun. See how good I am at this. Where's my disclaimer? Similar to something like this. So they click the link, it takes them over to the disclaimer. Maybe they click a button and agree to your disclaimer, and then they come back to your purchase protocol. Let me take this off. Boom. Okay. Whew. So I'll tell you guys, how's everyone doing out there? You guys hanging in there? This is just, it's just been devastating for some of our clients, you know, doing business with COVID, family and friends, health and safety. I will tell you guys, you know, I don't know if this is politically correct, but I have slept a lot better since a week ago Tuesday. So I'm glad we're moving forward when it comes to having Biden and Harris come into office. I think things are going to settle down. I think there'll be a lot more stability. I think the market's reflecting that. And I think what I'm seeing with respect to relationships with people starting to gear back up to doing business, especially with good news, with a possible vaccine coming down the pipe, I think we're positioning ourselves for a good 2021. Now, having said that, I think the last thing I want to talk about, and I'm consolidating a lot of questions, you guys, so I apologize for that. But I do want to just remind everyone that I think businesses that are embracing this type of technology, they're embracing digital signatures using DocuSign, for example. Businesses that are being set up where they can run their business on one of these, right? Zoom, live videos like this, email, text messages, 24/7 client portals, which is what we use. We use Clio, which is a legal database, but it allows our clients, whether it's 7 a.m. or midnight, to have access to their case files or calendars, to message us in a secured, private environment. All of these things help you as a business owner continue to do business, continue to provide an exemplary client experience for your clients and your customers. And I think the bad news is I don't see things getting much better for the next 6 months. So for those of you right now, or for those of you that have already made this pivot, but you're incorporating this technology into your business, you know, digital signatures, video and live video, text, email, being able to do everything from your phone so that you can service your clients and customers. I think you're the smart business owners, whatever the industry, whatever the profession, who are positioning yourselves to move forward, not only to help respect the safety and health of your clients, But also what you're going to find is you will be pulling back on your expenses. You will be running a more efficient business in a better business model. And I think you'll be servicing your clients in a more efficient fashion. And right now in business, it's all about the customer experience. It's all about creating an exemplary client experience. The clients, whether they know it or not, you can service them and do an initial legal interview on a Zoom, right? Or on something like this. You don't need to meet with clients and expose them to COVID in your office or vice versa. I don't want you to be exposed to it. Once you talk with them and share with them everything I need, we can do on a platform like this. We can share documents. We can share pictures. We can digitally sign documents. That's what clients need to know. And that's what clients are going to be expecting moving forward. So for those of you setting up your businesses right now, to accommodate this new client demand that we're already seeing, and frankly, we're expecting to 10x over the next 6 to 12 months. I think you're going to be putting yourself in a good, strong position for long-term business viability. A couple of more questions, you guys, and then I'm going to have to wrap this up if you don't mind. Immigration, we have a couple of immigration questions. I had a show earlier today. Let me see if I can bring it up. It might still be here with Josh Goldstein. And here it is. Let me see if I can bring it up. Boom, there we go. And Josh answered a lot of immigration questions, you guys, for about an hour. So for the immigration questions that I'm getting right now, go to @Mitch Jackson on any of your favorite platforms and check out this interview with Josh. He went over the 6 primary major changes he's expecting to have happen as soon as Biden Harris come into office on January 20th. And I think he's going to be right, but check it out. He also gives you guys tips if you have immigration needs or questions right now, how to go about it. Should you take action now? Should you wait until after January 20th? And spoiler alert, what Josh was basically saying is talk to somebody now, right? And then that immigration lawyer, similar to Josh, contact Josh if you're in LA or Boston. I've got some other friends that are immigration attorneys. Jim Hacking's an immigration attorney out of St. Louis, and they handle cases all over the country, you guys. It's a federal type of practice. Carol Williams is an immigration lawyer. And if you need the names of any lawyers, whether it's immigration, family law, bankruptcy, criminal defense, business formation, catastrophic injury, wrongful death, litigation and trial work. Intellectual property, and that's another thing that no one's asking any questions about: trademarks, trade names, intellectual property. But one of the biggest challenges I'm seeing on social media, you guys, has to do with business owners improperly using the intellectual property, the photo, the video, the audio of somebody else. Whether it's in good faith or not, unless you've got permission, you generally don't have the right to use it, even under the fair use doctrine. So you want to be very, very careful with using other people's photos, videos, written content, audio content, whatever it might be. If you didn't create it, you probably don't have the right to use it. So just kind of keep that in mind. But once again, if you need a good IP lawyer, reach out to me and I'll get you going in the right direction. So wrapping this up, I think the easiest way to connect with me, you guys, is at streaming.lawyer. There's a contact box. All my social media icons are there. And if you need help, reach out. If you need to be referred to a lawyer in your state in a particular type of law, reach out to me and I'll share some names with you of lawyers who I know, like, and trust. And I think you'll be in good shape. Let me just check this out. We got Brett, immigration potential is great. Oh, you're welcome, Brett. Yeah, Professor Muir's awesome. And I think the immigration issues are some of the most important issues that we're all dealing with right now. And when Josh shared some just really sad stories today involving some people that he's helping. So, so let's all get through this together, right? All right, listen. I needed to get this energy out of me before I call it a night. It's been a good day here at the office, good day doing my interview with Josh, and good day with a couple of Zoom mediations. We're done. I'm going to call it a night. You guys take care. Connect with me at streaming.lawyer. My name is Mitch Jackson, and I'm wishing each and every one of you to hopefully make the rest of your evening a masterpiece. All right, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.